Okay, guys, ladies and gentlemen, I've got plenty of people hanging out there waiting and lots of questions. I don't want to keep you guys waiting, so I'm going to start the live stream 4 minutes early. And I can still see that light in the corner of my camera, and that's going to bother you guys. There we go. Now, we got Jacob Myers. Good evening, Diego. Teja Sweeney. Diego, you're still getting stressed, Teja Sweeney. Why are you still stressing this process? Stop stressing. I thought after the approval the case would be faster, but I still did not get a welcome letter. It's been 70 days already. Feeling stressed. Can I send an inquiry? Go ahead and send an inquiry, but you're still early. 90 days is the average processing time for the MVC welcome letter from the NOA2 letter. But if you want to send an inquiry, go right ahead. If it help you. Okay? Jacob. Jacob says, LOL, he's past 90 days. I totally understand. Jacob, it's 100 days, 110 days, 80, 90, 100, 110 days. NOA2 to welcome letter. Teja Sweeney, I want my fiance to get to the United States. I'm really stressed and miss him very much. Teja Sweeney, I miss Karina very much too. I want her here in the United States, but we got a process to go through. It's called a K1 visa. Okay? It's not easy, it's not fast, and it's not the most exciting process in the world. But when you get your welcome letter, okay, all this stress is going to go away, right? You're going to be good. You're going to get it. Immigration are busy. Isaac Medrano, Diego, what's the process if someone overstays their visit? Well, what do you mean? On a B2 tourist visa? How do you mean overstayed their visit? Did you have somebody came to the United States on a tourist visa and decided they didn't want to go back home on time? What is it? Be more specific. Ashish Karki, hello Diego. Hey Ashish, how are you? Susie Goldames, hello Diego. Hi Susie. Jeff Mantalk, hello Diego. Hi Jeff, what's going on Jeff? Susie, what's going on out there in the big wide world of K1 visas? Mr. Nahas, hi Diego. Hey Mr. Nahas, good to see you. Jacob, so Diego, I'm super confused with the MVC site. It says DS160 is the first step in the process. You can't do anything unless you have a case number where you can create a SEAC account. And some people are saying that they can start the process with the receipt number from their NOA2 letter, or if they don't have their invoice number. But the bottom line is, you got to wait for the embassy to be ready for you. When the embassy is ready, that means they have your visa and they're waiting for you to start the process. Antonio, what is the income requirement for a household of 4? Household of 4. I made a video about the 2023 minimum income requirements. Okay? And that includes the household of 4. So I could look it up. I mean, you could look it up. Let me see what we got. I just don't want to miss any questions right now. Let me see. Jacob, but from the printout I sent you on Facebook, it said after the embassy. Ashish, hold on a second, guys. Ashish, got my welcome letter in 100 days. There you go. Janiela James, hi Diego. Fiance has his interview soon. I will be there. I'm nervous. What are you nervous about, Janiela? Relax. It's easy now. It's all downhill. Susie Galdames, this Wednesday makes 3 months from my approval visa, waiting for the welcome letter. 3 months or 90 days. You're right there. You're at the end. Almost there. Jacob, I'm stupid and confused. No, you're not stupid. You're not confused. You're just stressing it. When you stress it, when you get stressed over something, whether it's a K1 visa or whether it's learning how to drive a car or whether it's a big exam in college, okay, you overthink and you have anxiety. It's normal. It's normal. Just be patient. Janiela James, we are practicing questions for the visa interview. Good. ISAC, family tourist visa. Okay, if somebody overstays on a family tourist visa, is that person now in a K1 visa? Is that so? So somebody came in on a tourist visa, B2. They overstayed. They went back to their home country. Okay, and now they're in a K1 visa process, and you're worried about that. Don't worry about it. They went back home. They were late. They overstayed. Okay, that's going to be in the computer. But is it going to block a K1 visa? No, it's not going to block a K1 visa. It's not. Sophia Jam, good evening, Diego. I'm in MVC, and we all know about the migrant issues the city has been facing. Oh, you're in New York City. Yeah, you got a lot of unwelcome guests. People seem to think they can just cross our border and come in and expect us to be handing them a place to live and food and this and this and that, right? And here you guys are doing it the legal way, right? But you get what you vote for. Elections have consequences. So you're in New York City, and we all know about the migrant issues the city has been facing. My question is, does this affect K1 visa? No, it doesn't affect the K1 visa. It affects New York City. It affects the Border Patrol on the border between Mexico and the United States, who are trying to secure our borders, but they're not getting any help from the federal government. It doesn't affect the K1 visa though, but it just means that people are jumping ahead of you guys, waiting for the K1 visa. It's politics, right? Our southern border is not secure, so people just come on in, do it, and they want their free stuff, and they're not called migrants. They're illegal immigrants. They're in the country illegally. Okay. But it won't affect the K1 visa processing. The K1 visa process is getting faster. Jeff Mantalk, just waiting and waiting and waiting. Yeah, you're right. Kimani Young, AC fixed. Yeah, look, the AC's fixed. And I got my Mountain Dew, thanks to Pete B. So I'm good to go. It says it's 90 degrees outside and sunny. But in here, it's not. In here, it's nice and cool. You're a cool guy anyhow. Well, thank you, Kamani. I appreciate that. Jacob. Hi, Diego. I got my case number by inquiry. Okay. But until now, I'm still waiting for the welcome letter. Now 95 days. It's taken 100 days, 110 days. So you got another week or 2 weeks to go. Wait another 10 days. Okay? In the next 10 days, you're going to get it. In the next 10 days, Jacob, you're going to get your welcome letter. And Nancy Finilda. Let's see. Hi, Diego. Got my case number by inquiry. Okay, I responded to Nancy. You're going to get your welcome letter in the next week or so. Jacob, Diego, I have those. I have case and invoice number, but the printout said after ready status. So you need to email the embassy, Jacob. Email the embassy and say, hello, Mr. Embassy. I got my case number, I got my invoice number. This is my date of birth for my beneficiary. This is her name, etc., etc., etc. Identify your beneficiary in the email and ask the embassy for directions. They will respond to you. Teja Sweeney, I have seen people from India receive welcome letter in 2 months. Yeah, don't compare apples to oranges. It stresses me even more since mine passed 2 months and still nothing. Okay. Immigration do not process K1 visas in order of receipt or in range or in date. They don't. They process K1 visas in order of how much stuff do they have to look at? How much do they have to investigate? How difficult is the case? Now, take me, for example. I'm on my second K1 visa, okay? I filed in April of 2022. People already from April 2022 have got interview ready for their embassies. I'm not worried about it. My case took a bit longer to process because it had a lot of stuff to dig up. I'm on my second K1 visa. So they had to make sure the first K1 visa was terminated properly. They had to make sure it was flushed out of the system. They had to investigate to make sure, where did she go? Did we get divorced? Did we get divorced properly? Was it finalized? Did she return back to her home country? Is she still a beneficiary of me? Is she still a dependent? They had to check all that stuff out. Okay. She returned to her home country. She's not my dependent. Okay. And she's happily ever after back with her mom. But they had to investigate all that paperwork. Okay. So everybody's K1 visa case is different. Different. All of them. Let's see. But don't overthink it. Don't overstress it. Please. Let me see. What do we got? We got lots of questions here, guys. That's good. Kaiser H. Hello, Diego. What other items and things, documents I have to add to my beneficiary once she comes to the United States so I have a solid adjustment of status? I made a video about it, Kaiser H. And I mean, I've been over it. When you adjust your status to green card, you got to make sure immigration knows you guys, number one, got married within 90 days. They're going to check the K1 visa date when you came to the United States. They're going to check the I-94 record. They're going to make sure you guys got married from the marriage certificate within 90 days, not 3 months. And then when you submit your adjustment of status paperwork, you're going to include the 485, the 484, the 693, the vaccination records, and everything you can think of to put your new wife as part of your family. I made a video about it. Linda Gibbs, hi Diego, just wanted to check if I use my adult children on my 22 taxes, do I also use that on the I-134 where it says put my information and my dependents? Well, if you claimed your kids, Linda, on your 2022 taxes as write-offs, then you have to count them on your I-134 as dependents on the 2022. Okay? So, yes. Jacob, the embassy contacted me today that they don't have it and they are not backlogged. So the embassy has it. They still have it. So it's sitting on a shelf at the National Visa Center in New Hampshire collecting dust. But it will be shipped to your embassy, Jacob. So now you've answered the question why you're not getting anywhere with your visa. You can't continue with your visa process until it's at the embassy, right? You get the ready status. When it MVC, send it to the embassy. So right now you have to wait for the MVC, the National Visa Center, to ship it to the embassy. That's all you got to do. Relax. It's easy. You're almost there. Faris Hassan, hey Diego, my NOA 1 is September 28th, 2022. When do you think I'll get my NOA 2? I will say by the first week of October of this year. First or second week of October, Faris. Right in there, or the end of September. End of September, first week of October. Jacob, I took all your success videos and documented the information from those others, very good, and sent them all to my senator's office. Well, great. So your senator can watch Diego on YouTube. I really want just to talk to a person so I can get more than 7 words. Well, your senator are very busy people. The senators, well, they say they're busy. They make over 170 grand a year, which we pay them out of our taxes. I don't know how busy they are, but they say they're busy. We assume they're busy. But you come on the channel right here, we'll answer your questions right away. Jacob, I've been contemplating going to a federal court. For what? Why do you want to sue the State Department? For what? Because you're impatient, you're in a hurry, you've been waiting and waiting and waiting. You just got to wait it out. You can't, the only time you want to file a lawsuit against the federal government in an immigration case, okay, is if you have gone 3 or 4 months past their designated waiting time. And right now you haven't. Right now you're just impatient. And that's normal. It's no problem. It's normal to be impatient. I am too, but nothing I can do about it. So I just waited out. Karina, my beautiful prometida, who is from Caracas, Venezuela, living as a legal resident in Bogota, Colombia, with a Colombian cedula and residency card, will be here in Florida this year or early next year. What day? I don't know. What month? I don't know. But she will be here. Jacob, don't waste your money. Don't waste your time suing the State Department. Just cool down and be patient. Francois Livingston. Hello, Diego and Karina. I know it's premature this time, but any idea if the embassy in Abu Dhabi is processing visas or are they backlogged? No, their Abu Dhabi's good. They're not backlogged. They're processing K1 visas. They're good to go. Let me see. Unati Goswani. What's the difference between MVC and the consulate? The MVC is the National Visa Center, which is in New Hampshire, and they process the K1 visas. They assign case numbers, they contact embassies, and they mail the visas to the embassy when the embassy is free and not busy. The consulate is where the MVC mails the K1 visa to. It says your case went to a consulate. How fast will my case get done for K1 fiance visa? Well, if you're at the consulate already, you just got to wait for them to get unbusy and send you ready status. So you're very close to the end of the process. Nancy, I now checked my case at the MVC, July 26th to July 2023. How long is getting in transit? Depends on how busy the embassy is. The embassy now is at your mercy. James Wright, hello from beautiful upstate New York. Hey, James, in about 2 more months, you're going to be snowed in. I'm kidding. Jacob, it's been processed for 3 weeks. Okay, still waiting. You're still in a holding pattern. You're in an airplane going around in a circle, waiting to land at the airport, but there's other planes in front of you. You got to wait for them to land first. Antonio, where can I find the checklist for what my fiance needs to bring to her interview in the Philippines? The embassy in packet 4 will send her a list, an email. You're gonna get an email from the embassy, packet 4, and it's gonna list all the things that you need to bring or she needs to bring to the embassy interview in Manila. And it's very easy and it's a very short list. But remember, with the Philippines, she's going to have to go to some kind of a class in order for her to be able to leave the Philippines, to prepare her to leave the Philippines. I want to take a sip on my Mountain Dew, thanks to Pete B. He got his, he got his visa scheduled, his interview scheduled for October 3rd in Manila. But make sure when you go to your visa interview, this applies to everybody. Make sure you got a certified copy of your divorce decrees, annulments, death certificates, birth certificates, police certificates, I-134 form, W-2s, 1099s, 1040s, tax transcripts, photos, proof of a continuing relationship, chat logs printed. Print some chats up, okay? So, you're going to get an email from the embassy, from Manila, and they're going to say, Antonio, this is the stuff your beneficiary needs to get for the visa interview. And I just went over probably everything that's required. Waiting and waiting. Nancy, waiting and waiting. Jacob, Diego, if my forms have been processed for 3 weeks, and Manila says they aren't backlogged, no one has been able to explain why they aren't sending it. MVC is busy. It's sitting at the National Visa Center. You need to wait for the National Visa Center to send it. And there's nothing you can do about it. You just going to have to wait. SpenB1231. Hey, Diego, how are you? Doing great. USCIS approved our case on July 1st and sent it to the MVC. Okay? So July 1st, and it's already sent to the MVC. That's pretty quick. So that's July, August, 6-7 weeks. NVC website said they are creating cases they received on July 11th. Do you think it's about to be created for us? Now I'm getting to see more details here. No. The NVC tell you one thing and then turn around and do another thing. It's taken between 80 to 90 to 100 to 110 days for the NVC to receive cases from USCIS. Okay? So you're only 6 weeks into it. Don't expect to hear from the NVC till probably September. Don't want to break the bad news to you, but that's just the way it is. NVC says this and then does this. 90 days is the magic number right now. Let's see. Kaiser, Diego, can my beneficiary take all her educational certificates and degrees when she goes to the K1 visa interview? Most absolutely. She must do that. Make sure, because what's going to happen is when you fill out the DS-160, when your beneficiary fills out the DS-160, okay, when Karina fills out the DS-160, they're going to ask her, have you been to college? It's one of the questions on the DS-160. What is your highest education level? Did you graduate? Do you have a degree? Okay. And if you say yes, or if you say I've been to college for 2 years or 3 years, bring those transcripts with you to the visa interview. Definitely do that. And translate them into English if they're in a foreign language. If they're in Spanish, they got to be translated. But yes, Kaiser, do that. Lindsay Dorr, hi. Can my husband adopt and fill out I-130 for a son at age 20 when he is coming here for the first time? He has been failing the DNA test with his son. But after 15 years, via I-134A, his son is here. Lindsay, I don't understand what you're asking me. Can your husband adopt his son? If his son is in the United States of America, and if he failed the DNA test, he could adopt him. Just do the paperwork. If he's already in America, do the adoption paperwork. Sure. Linda Gibbs, Diego, can you fill out the DS-160 without having paid the visa fee? If you want to, but it expires in 30 days. But but you have a case number, or is it better to pay the visa fee? Pay the visa fee. Wait for the ready status. When you get the ready status, the embassy's ready for you. That means that the embassy is waiting for you to start processing your visa. Ready status, ready status, ready status. That's what you're looking for, guys. That's the magic word. Okay? Get the ready stat for Karina. I'll get the welcome letter from the NVC, September. I'll get a case number. Will I get an invoice number? Probably not. Nothing I can do. I'll go in and create an account with the SEAC account, Consulate Electronic Application Center, and create the account. And then I might try to process it through the receipt number. But if I don't have a ready status, the embassy doesn't have the visa. It's still at the NVC. So there's nothing I can do till it gets to the embassy in Bogota, Colombia. Just wait for ready status. And the DS-160 is only good for 30 days. So I wouldn't waste your time filling it out until you get ready for the embassy to do the actual paying of the visa. Abdul Wahab Kanu. Hello, sir. Is Abu Dhabi Embassy processing K1s? My visa. My NOA1 is September 20th. Yes, sir, Abdul. The embassy is in Abu Dhabi doing their K1 visa processing. No problems, no backlogs, no issues, and everything's good. Jacob, sorry if it seems like I'm going crazy. You're just stressing out a process that you shouldn't be stressing. Okay? You're stressing. You're overthinking. I understand now why the embassy doesn't take calls. Because they lie through their teeth and they can't do their job. They got new people. Okay? They're training new people. It's like, it's like you got a new cashier at Walmart. She's trying to figure out how to do it. They're learning. Give them time to learn and train. They're getting trained. John Wick. It's real frustrating. I was told that once I get my NVC approved, that the wait time for an interview for Dominican Republic would be 2 months, such a long wait. No, it's not 2 months. It's quicker than that. It's once you get everything done and you pay the visa fee, it's a couple of weeks. You'll get in there. Jacob, I guess I need to blow up my senator's office phone until I get a person to explain why they are moving slow. Well, that's just going to irritate your senator's office, and then they're going to probably not going to want to help you. I wish I had connections like you have with Rubio's office. I've been friends with Senator Rubio for 15, 20 years, somewhere in there. He's a friend of mine, but I don't use that position. I don't use the friendship as a way to bypass the system. He's busy too, but he helps people with immigration problems. But you are just impatient. You're impatient. You have still got to wait. Your visa package is at the National Visa Center, and all you got to do is wait for them to get to your visa and send it to the embassy. The problem could be at the embassy. It could be at the embassy. They could be busy. Okay, but you're going to get your K1 visa. You've made it to the National Visa Center. You're going to get your visa. Punet Kaur, the MVC site says they are creating cases from July 18th. I don't pay attention to what the MVC says they're doing. Don't pay attention to what the MVC says, okay? I just pay attention to when I'm going to get my welcome letter from the MVC, which is going to be probably in September. Jacob, don't hold your breath. My National Visa Center was May to June. What do you mean your National Visa Center was May? Your visa has been sitting at the National Visa Center since May? Since May. Which embassy are you working through? Which embassy? Which country? I forget. I can't remember. James Wright, excuse me. I sponsored my deceased wife's children. You sponsored your deceased wife's children over 30 years ago. They are grown with their own children. No need to list on my I-134. No. They're not your dependents. No. They're not dependent on you. They're grown up. They're dependent on themselves. And good job on sponsoring your deceased wife's children. Very good. Excellent. Now, but what you need to do on the I-134 is that you have to state that you had sponsored those children. So when you fill out the I-134, there's a space in there. You're going to say, yes, I have sponsored people before in the past, okay, but they're no longer your dependents. Just make a little statement. I can't remember which line it is. It's on page 8 or 9 or somewhere in there. You just make a little blurb in there. On the very back where it says other information, you say, well, I sponsored some people on I-134, list their names, and they are now, are they American citizens? If they're American citizens, if they've been working for over 10 years, then they're not your dependents anymore. But you got to identify them on the I-134. So yes, you need to list them on the I-134, but you don't list them as dependents, okay? You don't list them as dependents. You just make a little blurb on the back page where it says other information. They got that big square. Put a little box X in there, page number, section number, whatever, part number, page, section number. Say, back 30 years ago, I sponsored these people, these children. Okay, they're not my dependents. They are American citizens. Blah blah blah. But identify them. That'll save you a headache because immigration will know that you did that, even though it was 30 years ago. You just don't have to list them as dependents. Jacob, USCIS does better training than the MVC. At this point, I agree with you. Danny, Diego, can I travel to the U.S. with a B2 while waiting for the case number? I have done it other times. Sure. No problem. You can do that. B2 visa is good for 10 years. Let me see. Abdul Wahab Kanu. Sir, when will I expect my NOA 2? My NOA 1, September 2nd, 2022. So September, October. probably the middle of September, at the latest the first week of October of 2023. Unless they have more investigating to do. It depends on what stuff you put in your K1 visa. Jeff Mantok, Jacob, you only need to contact the senator's office one time. Then they will check on your application monthly. That's correct. Jacob, Manila. So you're Philippines. Okay. Well, then your case should have already left the MVC and should already be in the Philippines. So and it's been there. It's been at the MVC since May. That doesn't seem right somehow. Jeff, my point is to talk to an actual person. You can't. MVC will not take phone calls. All they do is take inquiries. I would be emailing the embassy in Manila. Okay, because in the embassy in Manila, they can call the MVC. They can. Jeff Mantalk, you will probably only be able to email. All you can do is send inquiries to the MVC. Jacob, I called today. They told me to leave a message. Daggy, hi Diego, happy Monday. Any updates on the I-134? Hasn't changed. Keep using the current edition. Nothing's changed. And so it's still good to go. Jeff Mantalk, I contacted my senator in June and his office checks monthly. There you go. Paya, India, still no NOA 2, NOA 1, July 21st. Okay, they're finishing up the July K1 visa packages. They're wrapping up the Julys. You'll be hearing from them very soon, probably in the next week or two. 2 weeks. Hedrax Sodiero. Hey Diego, I'm filling my fiance daughter declaration of financial support part 2. Just put my future daughter name only and put the one dependent for my future daughter. I did my fiance's already. Okay, Hedrax, when you fill out the I-134, you're going to fill out one for your beneficiary, your future wife, and then on hers, you're going to include her child. Okay, her daughter, your daughter, future stepdaughter. Okay, you got it. So, and then you're going to add up her dependents, which is going to be 1. And then you're going to fill out an I-134 for her daughter, and then she's going to have a list of dependents, which is going to be 0, because she's going to be the dependent of the mom. Okay, so you're going to have 2 I-134s, and the child, the daughter, will be included on the mom's I-134 plus her own separate I-134. You got it? Luke, both UPS and FedEx want $150 to send large envelopes to the Philippines. Woo! USPS wants 50. Can post office be trusted to deliver? FedEx. Use FedEx or get on a plane and fly to the Philippines and with the documents in your hand. Okay? That's the safest way, is for you to fly there, go there for 10 days, spend 10 days there, would be what I would do. But FedEx is the way to go. Okay? $150 is cheaper than a $2,000 plane ticket though, right? Paya, why do some cases take longer than others? It makes me nervous. Everybody's visa is different. My K1 visa took 13 and a half months. Other people's visas took 12 or 13 months. My visa had a lot more stuff to investigate. Everyone's visa is different. Don't be nervous. Gevorg Avestisyan. 98 days waiting for a letter from MVC. Is it normal? It's normal, but you're at the finish line. Next week, I bet you hear from MVC. Next week. I understand I-129F. Yeah, for the visa, K1 visa. Yeah. Jacob. And that's why I've been going nuts, sitting at the MVC since May. Well, that's not good. I've been in more contact now with the embassy, but I can only do one email until they respond. Yeah, May, June, July, August. Yeah, your visa should already be in the Philippines, in the embassy. Should be already there. They're looking at something in that visa package at the MVC. The MVC is looking at your visa package. They're looking at it if it's been there that long. No, don't call the embassy, Jacob. Don't waste your time calling the embassy. You need to send an inquiry to the MVC and have your senator. Are you working through Senator Rubio? You got it under control right now. Inquiries and your senator should be contacting the NVC. Don't call the embassy. No, the embassy doesn't have your case. It's at the NVC. Denise Jefferson. Hello, Diego and Karina. Hey, Denise. If the 30 days starts when you hit the button and you don't get an appointment within that time, it seems you need another DS-160. Can you explain the timeline for the DS-160? Well, when you fill out the DS-160, you really want to do that when you get the ready status for the embassy. Once you get the ready status at the embassy and you've paid your visa fee, okay, then you want to fill out the DS-160 and print the confirmation page. I am not going to fill out Karina or help her. I'm going to be in Colombia, but I'm going to fill out the visa for the DS-160 for her because she can't speak English. But she's going to be doing the work, and I'll be translating the information. But I'm not going to do that. She's not going to submit it until we've scheduled a visa interview. When we've scheduled the visa interview, that's when we're going to do the DS-160. And, we're not going to be premature and fill out the DS-160 before we even get a visa interview. We're not going to do that. We're going to pay the visa fee, get the visa interview scheduled, then do the DS-160 because we already know the day of the interview. Philip Wilson, I have had the ready status since August 4th. What should we be doing next? Madrid. So Madrid, Spain. Okay, email the embassy and ask them for directions. Dear U.S. Embassy, and in the subject line, put your case number, your invoice number, whatever you got, your beneficiary's date of birth, name, and all that in the email body, and ask them, Dear Embassy Madrid, what do I do? That's what I'm going to do for Karina. When I get the welcome letter, ready status, and all that, I'm emailing the embassy and asking for directions. I already know what to do, but I'm going to email them so then that way they know that I got my visa ready to go. Then they will email me directions. They'll email me a packet for a welcome letter. So Philip, you need to be emailing the embassy in Madrid. Luke, right now, Luke, right? I made the trip already. It's a long way, man, to the Philippines. Whoop slap! I sent all my docs USPS, and it got there in 2 weeks. Where did you send them? Christopher Stout, I was told my NOA2 will be at before October 17th, but then it's 125 days for the welcome letter from the Philippines. It's about right. Sounds about right, Christopher. Whoop slap, Christmas package. Christmas packages. You sent Christmas packages to the Philippines. It took 4 months. Christmas is Christmas. It's a busy time of the year. Santa Claus is busy filling up his sleigh. You got to give him a break. It's a slow time in December. Jevog Avitstasian. Thank you, sir. You're a blessing. I'm glad to help you. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, Gevorg. Bud Garcia. Good afternoon, Diego. Hello, Bud. My NOA1 was September 19th, 2022. So you think my fiance will be with me next Christmas or before? Well, next Christmas is 2024. This Christmas is 2023. She probably won't be with you this Christmas, so she will be with you definitely next Christmas. Same for Karina. She's not probably going to be here this Christmas. I don't know. But for right now, I don't think so. Jacob, let me explain to you. Your K1 visa should already be in the Philippines, in Manila. MVC has it. There's a reason they're not sending it to the embassy. They're still looking at it. But you should be asking them why. What are they looking at? And have your senator investigate it. Jacob. Yeah, your case should have already left. No, the embassy in Manila is not backlogged, Jacob Myers. It's not. They should have it already. There's a reason why it hasn't been sent. Philip Wilson, thank you. I emailed them, so I am waiting on a response for the next steps. I didn't want to prematurely fill out the DS-160. That's correct. The time to fill out the DS-160 is when you have paid the visa fee and you've scheduled the visa interview. The DS-160 only takes 45 minutes to fill out. 45 minutes, take your time, fill it out, boom, print it, print the confirmation page. And you print the confirmation page because you know you've already got a visa interview scheduled. Whoop slap. I talked to someone recently that just had an interview and they said they are not backlogged. They're not. They're not backlogged. Denise Jefferson. So, for example, if you scheduled your interview for December 1 in September, you should wait closer to December 1 before filling out the DS-160 to ensure that the DS-160 doesn't expire. So I would do this. If you have your visa interview scheduled for December 1st, I would fill out the DS-160 in the middle of November. It only takes 45 minutes. That's correct. You're absolutely right, Denise. Spot on. Boom, high five. That's what I'm going to do. Exactly. I scheduled Karina's visa interview in embassy in Bogota December 1st. I'm going to fill out the DS-160 in the middle of November. And then I'm going to submit it to the embassy and print the confirmation page. Drake Live, is the embassy in Ethiopia backlogged? No, they're doing a fine job processing K1 visas. They're good. Bud Garcia, you think I should get my NOA 2 by October? Yeah, by the middle of October this year. Ashley Santana, just tuning in. Any updates from the MVC? They're still slow, Ashley. The MVC are still slow. They're not going as fast as everybody wants them to go. So it's a slow process. And Jacob Myers, we're trying to get her visa to the embassy in Manila. Jen Ganesh, hi Diego, any update on MVC? The update is they're slow. Whoop slap, invoice number is given by the embassy. Should be there. That's correct. The embassy will assign an invoice number at the ready status. Jacob, I got an invoice number, but the embassy says it's not there. See, that's where we got the problem with Jacob's visa. She got an invoice number, but it's still at the MVC. So it's a conflagration that the MVC needs to fix. Okay. Ashley Santana, I saw on MVC website that they are working on cases received on July 23rd. I don't look at the MVC website. I don't even pay attention to it. It doesn't mean a thing because it's not correct. It's not accurate information. Jacob, you understand why I'm stressed now, Diego? Now I understand. You've been waiting since May, and it should already be in process. You should already be getting scheduling a visa interview in Manila. So but don't stress it, okay? Because that's just going to make you get sick. Don't get stressed out about it. Be proactive what you're doing, okay? Tell your senator exactly what happened. Explain it, okay? Explain what happened. Bud Garcia, so there are any updates on Bangkok, on the interviews? They're processing K1 visas in Bangkok, in Thailand. No problems. Everything's moving along smoothly. Jen Ganesh, hi Diego, did you get your welcome letter yet? No, not yet. Still early. We're at about 70-something days since our NOA 2 letter. 70 days, somewhere in there. I don't know. I don't count days. But I figure the first week of September, I will get the welcome letter. First week or second week of September of this year. And I'm patiently just going to hang out here in hot and sweaty Florida and wait for the welcome letter. Ashley, Diego, can you talk about the info needed for the DS-160? Sure. I made a video about it, but I'll go over it briefly. The DS-160 is actually the application for the K-1 visa. That's what it is. You are applying for a non-immigrant visa, even though it's classified as an immigrant visa in the travel docs section. Okay, so when you go into travel docs in the SEAC account, you're going to hit immigrant visa, but it's not. It's a non-immigrant visa. So then you get all these questions that you have to answer in the DS-160. You're going to put your beneficiary is going to answer questions. What's your passport number? When's your passport expiration? Which countries have you visited? Have you ever been to the United States of America before? Do you have a college degree? Have you ever been a member of the Communist Party? Have you ever been a member of any terrorist groups? Have you belonged to any groups? They are going to ask you questions about, they may ask you, how tall are you? What's the color of your hair, color of your eyes? It's a biographic security questionnaire. That's all it is. And it takes 45 minutes. And you have to fill out a DS-160 for each person immigrating to the United States. So it will be for the beneficiary and for the K-2 children. So if you got 3 people coming to America, you're going to fill out 3 DS-160s, one for each person. Even if the child is 1 year old or 2 years old or 3 years old, you're going to have to fill out the DS-160 for those kids, plus the beneficiary. Then you print the confirmation page, and I recommend you do it when you have scheduled your visa interview. And fill it out 30 days before your visa interview has been scheduled. It's just a questionnaire to make sure you're not going to come to America and do bad and nefarious things. They're going to ask you questions like on the DS-160, have you ever been deported? Have you been in removal hearings before? Questions like that. Immigration questions. Whoopslap wants to become friends with Jacob. Do it. Let's see. You guys need to make friends with each other and help each other. Fazak. If the embassy of the beneficiary has a 5-month waiting list for a tourist visa, will that affect the waiting time for a K-1 visa? No, totally different. They're totally different. It's the waiting time for a tourist visa at the embassy in Bogota, Colombia is like 600 days, but the K-1 visa wait time is like 6 to 8 weeks. So there's totally different visas. No, it's apples and oranges. Diego, I don't think I heard how to get more than a 7-word answer from the NVC inquiry. Yes, you got to get into. You need to have your senator investigate. And if it gets down to if you don't get it done by the end of September, you need to file a federal lawsuit against the National Visa Center to adjudicate your case. You need to bring in an immigration attorney, or I don't normally say that because I don't believe anybody needs an immigration attorney to do a K-1 visa. It's such an easy thing to do. But in your case, if you're being ignored by the NVC, you should have heard something at least by the end of September. If you haven't heard anything by the end of September, sue them in federal court, and that will fix it. That will fix it. I promise you. Nick Hill Modha, Diego, when will USCIS look at January 2023 files? Probably December of this year. Bud Garcia, when should we start getting a police report? Well, I'm going to get Karina's police report for Colombia probably when we get the welcome letter from the National Visa Center, because it's good for 2 years. When you get the welcome letter from the NVC. But Whoopslap, police reports are good for a year. That's not correct, Whoopslap. Police certificates, as per the U.S. State Department, are good for 2 years from the issue date. They're good for 2 years. Hannah, and the Whoopslap, you need one for anywhere she has been living. Correction. You need a police certificate wherever you have lived for longer than 6 months or more, or if you are 16 years of older in age. If you are under age 16, you don't need a police certificate. If you are 16 years or older, you need a police certificate. wherever you have lived or worked for 6 months or longer, whichever country. Hannah, hi Diego, regarding the police certificate, is it valid from the date of issuance? Yes. For 2 years? Yes. As per the MVC, yes. And you bring it to the interview. Translate it into English if it's necessary. Great, more money. Jacob, you can file a federal lawsuit against the MVC on your own if you want to. It'll cost you $400 somewhere in there. I'm not an immigration attorney, and I'm not giving you any legal advice. I'm just saying what you can do. Go to the courthouse, go to the federal courthouse in your city, and ask them how to do it. Or if they'll tell you. Jen Ganesh, Diego, how long does it take for the USCIS to send your case to the MVC after approval? 90 days is the average. Antonio, my fiance got a daughter who's 3. I didn't fill out the DS-160 for her. I just added her. They automatically add the child on the K2. Well, that's a new process because the process I was accustomed to was you had to fill out a DS-160 per beneficiary. If there's a block you can check now on the DS-160, which will automatically add the K2, that's good. That saves you a lot of work. But in the past, I went through it with a young kid, and I had to fill out a DS-160 for the beneficiary and her daughter. So maybe they have updated the DS-160 now, where you can just check a block that will add the K2. I hope so. If that's the case, that's less paperwork. That's great. So the solution to that would be to read the DS-160, and if there's a question that says, do you want to add a child on the K2, and it says yes, hit that box and see what happens. It's going to create a second DS-160 for you. Brian and Jacqueline, hi Diego and Karina. What's up, Brian and Jacqueline? Whoops, slap. You got it all wrong. No, you didn't get it all wrong. You just didn't put the whole story out there. Denise Jefferson, still stuck on the timeline for the DS-160. If you need the visa DS-160 to get an interview, is it safe to say that you will likely get an interview within 30 days? The 30-day expiration is confusing. No, let me unconfuse you, Denise. First, you schedule the visa interview. The visa interview is on December 1st, 2023. You know now the day of the visa interview, right? You know what the day is. So now you can go back 30 days in time and fill out the DS-160. So take December 1 minus 29 days. Let's go back 29 days, and somewhere in there is when you fill out your DS-160 and submit it to the embassy and print the confirmation page. Very easy. You got it? Denise, come on now. Come on. You can fit, you know how to do this. Karina, use Karina as an example. Let's suppose that I've scheduled Karina's visa interview at the U.S. Embassy in Bogota on November 30th. Okay? I'm going to minus 29 days from November 30th. And then in that window of time, right there, I'm going to fill out the DS-160 with her in Colombia. I'll ask her the questions and I'll translate the questions for her in Spanish. She'll fill it out. Boom. Within that 30-day period. Then I'll submit it. But she has only lived in Chonburi. Then that's all you need a police certificate for. Faith A, Daggy, any news for your appointment from Ethiopia? Ashley Santana, how do they go about getting police certificate from another country? My fiance lived in PR doing missionary work for some time. PR. What is PR? Puerto Rico? What is PR? What country is that? Forgive me. I don't know what the country is, but I'll help you. Let me know the country. Dan Williams. Diego, me and my fiance are waiting for welcome letter. It's been over a month. Oh, you're still early. Why are you sending inquiries? It takes at least 90 days. I sent inquiries. They said it's been sent to the consular office. Do you believe that? Do you really believe that? If your visa had been sent to the consular office, you would have received a ready status from the embassy, from the consulate. You started the DS-160 and paid the visa fees. Well, you haven't scheduled the visa interview yet. So why are you filling out the DS-160? You fill out the DS-160 once you schedule the visa interview. When you know the date of the visa interview, you're going to go back 30 days in time and then fill out the DS-160. So the DS-160 is going to time out after 30 days. You're just going to have to redo it. No big deal. Redo it. Air First Just vlog. No appointments in Lagos, Nigeria. What is happening? They're busy. They're backlogged probably. Sounds like Nigeria is having a rough time. Jacob, I feel we have grown on my case tonight. Jacob, now I understand your situation. At first, I wasn't fully understanding what you weren't fully explaining it. But now you've told me the NVC's been holding your case since May of this year. It should already be in the Philippines already by now. Should be there right now, being processed. Get your senator or file a mandamus lawsuit against the NVC and tell them to process your case. They have to respond to a federal lawsuit. It's like $400 to file it. If you don't want to hire an immigration attorney, do it yourself. Let's see. Antonio, yes, I asked, do the beneficiary have kids? Yeah, on the DS-160. Let me see. Mr. Nahas, Mr. Diego, police report is different. An expired date between county and another Iraq is only valid for 6 months. The State Department has said that all police certificates are good for 6 months from the issue date. The State Department is in control of this visa process, not the government of Iraq. The government of Iraq can say whatever they want. The government of the Philippines can say whatever they want. The government of Colombia can say whatever they want. But the State Department is in control of the process, and they're saying that your police certificate is good for 2 years from the issue date. Okay? Frank Nagasako. Hi, Diego. How are you doing? Boom. High five, Frank. Doing good. You're just passing by. Well, come on. Come on, pass on by and hang out with us for a little bit. Denise Jefferson. Thank you, Diego. I thought that you needed the DS-160 to schedule the interview. No, you don't. The DS-160 is the application for the interview. You schedule the interview first. Okay? So you're going to have it on this day. And you pay the visa fee. Then you fill out the DS-160 and apply for the visa. Ashley, yes. Ashley Santana, Puerto Rico. Oh, okay, Puerto Rico. Very good. I thought Puerto Rico was like it's not part of the United States, but it is kind of part of the United States. It's kind of like part of this great republic, but not. It's kind of like it's like a stepsister. Whoop slap. Did anyone else hear a smoke alarm? I couldn't tell if that was Diego or my house. Well, my smoke alarm, I disabled it. It was so hot in this room, I just took the batteries out. I didn't know. But now I got my AC working. I'm good to go. Let's see. Angie. Hi, Diego. Hey, Angie. How are you? It's about my bank statement. Do I have to show my bank account number? Thank you. If you are the sponsor, you only have to show your bank information if your income is at the 100% mark, 125% mark, right in there. I would get 12 months worth of bank statements anyway. Okay, like my income is sufficient for a K1 visa, but I'm going to give Karina 12 months worth of bank statements to show my income for 2023. The direct deposits. Do I need to? Probably not. But am I going to do it? Yes. It's called insurance. Okay. Now, talking about income, you can read online. It says you got to be at 100% minimum federal guidelines income for a K1 visa. That's 100. That's exactly correct. If you are right on the line, 100%, just above a little bit of the minimum income requirements, you're good to go for the visa interview. But I recommend you get a joint sponsor to go the I-134, get a joint sponsor to fill out an I-134 just as insurance, okay? Just as insurance, just in case you get a really strict immigration officer at the embassy that says, well, yeah, technically speaking, you only have to be at 100%, but in the United States, you got to be at 125%. So you might get somebody like that at the embassy interview. It's happened before, okay? So even though the rule says you have to be at 100% above of the minimum income requirements for the embassy interview, Diego's opinion is you should be at above 125%. And if you're not, get a joint sponsor as insurance. As insurance. Are you going to probably need the bank statements if your income is sufficient? No. Do you need a joint sponsor if your income is sufficient? No. But I recommend you get a joint sponsor if you are just above 100% and under 125% for the visa interview. Even though the immigration officer is going to probably approve your visa, you might get an immigration officer that says, well, you qualify because you're at 100%, but remember, you're going to need a joint sponsor when you get to the United States. And then you can turn around and say, well, here, I got my joint sponsor already, and give them the I-134. And then the immigration officer is going to have a happy, fuzzy, warm feeling and say, your visa is approved. But you might get that jerk that says, well, yeah, even though technically you're qualified at 100%, I'm going to want you to get a joint sponsor. And I'm going to put you in a 221G administrative hold while you get a joint sponsor. That immigration officer is basically violating the rules, right, of immigration, because you don't need a joint sponsor at the embassy and interview at 100%. But guess what? The immigration officer controls the show. It's his game. It's her ball game. Just my opinion. Let's see. Bud Garcia, I know I am early about this, but I'd like to know what I need to do ahead of time. No, you're good, Bud. Get as much knowledge as you possibly can as early as you can, so you learn how to do this, so you don't get any surprises closer to the visa interview. Let's see. Mr. Naha, so that means doesn't matter if he has an expired date, it's still valid. Right. This police certificate's good for 2 years, Mr. Nahas. PR is a territory. There you go. I thought it was a territory. It's our stepsister, right? Ashley Santana, how does he go about getting a police report from Puerto Rico? Well, if it's a territory of the United States, it's probably not going to be required, because you don't need a police report from the United States or its territories. So I would go to the State Department. I would Google State Department Police Certificates Puerto Rico and see what it comes up. Go to Google, put in there Puerto Rico, K1 visa, police certificates, Puerto Rico, something like that, and see what pops up. But I don't think you need a police certificate from Puerto Rico. It's a territory. Denise Jefferson, I am hearing more and more that Lagos is not scheduling interviews timely. Is there any possible way to choose another embassy in Africa? My fiance lives in Nigeria. Yes, yeah, Denise. Let's take Karina, for example. Karina's from Venezuela. Okay, she lived in Venezuela, but she relocated to Colombia. She got asylum in Colombia because Venezuela is a communist dictatorship, and she couldn't stand it anymore. She couldn't stand living under a dictatorship, so she moved to Colombia and got asylum. Your beneficiary, I would recommend, could relocate to another country. I mean, it's easy for me to say, but if he relocates to another country in Africa that is processing visas a lot quicker than Nigeria, then he could relocate, okay? And then you have to notify, once the visa's at the National Visa Center, you notify the NVC through an inquiry and say, hey, my beneficiary has relocated to this country. Please forward the embassy, please forward the K1 visa to this country, not to Nigeria. And if by chance that the NVC doesn't make that correction and your visa package goes to Nigeria, You can then email the embassy in Nigeria and say, my beneficiary no longer lives in Nigeria. He lives in this country. Please forward the K1 visa package to this country. That's how you would do it. Okay? That's the process. But he's going to have to be a resident of that country, of the new country. Karina is a resident of Colombia. She has a cedula. She has a residency permit card to live in Colombia from the Colombian government. So, if you can't be illegal in a country, you got to be legal in the country. You got to have documents to say you're a resident of that country, whether it's South America, Africa, Europe, wherever it is. Hannah, is it enough for the petitioner to submit his naturalization certificate with the I-129 package to prove his American citizenship? Sure. A citizen, Denise Jefferson. High five, Denise. Thank you, Denise. I tell you what, you are the strongest supporter of this YouTube channel. Thank you, Denise. You don't have to do it, but it's greatly appreciated. And I'm not sweating either. I got my AC fixed. It cost me an arm and a leg, but I got it fixed. So Hannah, yes, the naturalization certificate is sufficient to prove citizenship. Jacob Myers, so Diego, just to make sure, should I even bother sending any more inquiries? Just stick with this. Just let your senator do his thing or her thing. Okay? Let the senator handle it. And then you call your senator's office up and you call them up and say, look, if you don't fix this, if you don't get this done, I'm filing a federal lawsuit against the MVC in New Hampshire. Okay? You need to start getting ready, get your ducks in a row to drop a lawsuit on them. Your visa should already be in Manila. Okay? MVC should be sending you an explanation to you why it's not. Why is it not there? They could at least tell you the reason, right? Right? Instead of having you sitting day after day wondering what's going on. In order for you to get the MVC to get off their backsides and do their job, drop a federal lawsuit on them. You are well within your bounds to do that. But wait till the end of September. Tuan Benson. Whoa, look at you guys. High five, Tuan. Thank you for that super chat. You're gonna keep me stocked in Mountain Dew because Pete B got his visa already scheduled. His interview's already scheduled. Hopefully Pete B will stick around. But now I've got Denise and Tuan keeping me in Mountain Dew. And I want to take a salute to Tuan and Denise and Tuan for this beautiful super chats. Thank you, guys. And excuse me, I apologize for drinking in front of you, but it keeps my throat from dying on me. Jacob, stick with your senator, okay, and then call your senator back up next week and say that if they don't fix this problem, you're going to be filing a federal lawsuit against MVC. You are a prime candidate to do that, okay? Now, if the MVC would send you an email and explain to you why it hasn't been sent to Manila, that's one thing. But they haven't. They're ignoring you. Get them. Jacob Myers, look at you. Thank you. Sorry for all the freakouts. Jacob, you're not having freakouts. You're stressing the process. And I understand why now, okay? I understand why you're so stressed out. But I'm going to help you, okay? I'm going to get you your visa. As long as there's no issues with your visa, I'm going to help you get it. If you follow my advice, do what I say, okay, you're going to get it, okay? Immigration don't like lawsuits from the federal government. Federal lawsuits are a big hammer that come down on USCIS, and they will respond and get your visa shipped quicker, sooner than later, to Manila if you drop a lawsuit on them. Brian and Jacqueline, I was wondering, Diego, how many of my weekly pay stubs I should include in Jacqueline's interview packet? I have one for every week. I would put in there 4 months worth. So that's 16. I would put 4 months worth. if it was, the immigration want to see they want to see that you're getting paid frequently. Once a week is pretty good. When I was in the Navy, I got paid twice a month. Okay. And in my current job, I get paid once a month. I get paid once a month, the 21st of every month. And then my Navy retirement is once a month. So what I'm going to do for Karina is I'm going to go and I'm going to provide immigration. I got him a letter from the Department of Defense saying this is what Diego's retirement money is for the month, per month, lifetime. It's a lifetime thing. And then I got my pay stubs for like 6 months. I'm going to put 6 months in on mine for pay stubs. Plus, I'm going to put 12 months worth of bank statements, okay, which is going to show all of my bank statements for the year. So immigration can take the pay stubs and my military retirement pay, and they can match it to the bank statements, and they can see what I'm telling them is not a story. And then they're going to add it up for 12 months. They're going to get an average to get the average yearly income. Twan Benson, keep cool, my friend. Oh, I thank you for that super chat, Twan, and Jacob Myers also. And Denise Jefferson, you are a fantastic supporter of this channel. Denise, if you say, I want to have to send you I want to get you some souvenirs from Colombia. When I go to Colombia and bring Karina back to the United States, I want to get you some souvenirs from Colombia, like a fridge magnet, some coffee, Colombian coffee, something like that. You have overly earned it, okay, with your support for this channel. So I'm going to bring you back some souvenirs from Colombia, maybe a T-shirt, a sombrero, something. Tell me what you want, okay? And then let me know how I can get it to you, so I can mail it to you when I get back here. Whoopslap, just looked it up on lawyer webpage. They said there are some cases that require police clearance to ensure no criminal charges have been made. That's why there's a police certificate. That's correct. Christopher Stout, hey, if approved by like October 17th estimate, is like to be in the USA around July 2024 or September. Be more specific, Christopher. I need more. If approved by October 17th, NOA 2? Be more specific. Susie Gaudames, same here, Denise Jefferson. It seems Lagos, Nigeria embassy is taking longer. Yeah, I've got a person here who their K1 visa package. I'll make a video for you guys about Nigeria, okay? So you can see the exact timeline. But everything is sitting basically at the embassy in Nigeria. They're not scheduling interviews. This person here is, I'll just make a video so you can watch it. Christopher Stout, that's a heck of a super chat right there. Have a hot fudge sundae at Sonic. Okay. You think my fiance will be here like around July 2024. When was the NOA 2 letter, Christopher? When was the NOA 2 letter? What's the date on the NOA 2? What was the date on the NOA 1 letter? Tell me the NOA 1 letter and the NOA 2 letter. I need those dates, and then I'll answer your question. And then I'll get a hot fudge sundae at Sonic. Jacob, the embassy is backlogged, and my case has been processed and waiting at embassy for openings. I wish I didn't have to jump through hoops, but the embassy in Manila is not backlogged. You should already be done. I'm getting frustrated for you, Jacob. Okay, Christopher Stout, November 9th, 2022 is your NOA 1. So by November, so let's say by November, December 2023, you'll have your NOA 2. Let's say December. By March, first week of April, you'll have your NBC welcome letter. And then which embassy, Christopher? Remind me, which country? I'm thinking probably May or June of 2024, you guys will be together in the United States. I think probably by Philippines, probably by June or July of 2024 at this point. June or July 2024. Let's say June 2024 on the faster end, okay? because the MVC hopefully will get their act together and have their people trained by then fully, and will be processing visas much quicker. Denise Jefferson, you showing up here for us weekly is all of the thanks that I need. Janice, it's a pleasure. We ask you the same questions over and over again. No problem. And you respond as if it's the first time you heard it. Patience of Job. Well, one thing about this K1 visa process, it's not easy to do. And thousands of people watch this channel, okay, or viewed the videos, maybe not the live stream. You know, we get an average viewership of like 50 people per live stream, which is good. But thousands and thousands of people have watched the videos. And you know, they don't respond, they don't tell me they've watched it, but I've known they watched it from the analytics. I don't know which person it is, but I know which country, I know which town, I know which city where people are watching the channel from. So I've got lots of new people that are trying to learn how to do a K1 visa. I got lots of people that have filed a K1 visa, but they don't know how to do the MVC processing, or they don't understand the embassy processing. So, you know, imagine what it's like to be an employee at USCIS. You know, they get the same thing. They get thousands and thousands of emails every day with the same questions over and over. Okay. Now, I want to help you guys get your K1 visas. Denise, I'm going to help you get through this process. Okay. Jacob, everybody. But you got to try to listen to what I say and take my advice. I'm not an immigration attorney. I don't give you any legal advice, but I've been through this process 3 times. And I know what it's like to have to wait through a difficult thing. I've been through a spousal visa. That was a nightmare. Not for the beneficiary, but for the process. The process is horrible. Let's see. Yaha Conte. Hi, Diego. How long is it taking the embassy in Senegal, beautiful Senegal, to send the welcome letter? It's about 6 to 8 weeks. Senegal doing pretty good. Senegal are on top of things. Whoop slap. NOA1 June 8th. I had to redo it 3 times. Send it in first time on May 3rd, trial and error. Yeah, I've been through. When I did my first K1 visa back in 2016, December 2016, I didn't know what I was doing. I got an RFE. I had a heart attack on the RFE, but I got it all done in 9 months, and I learned how to do it. Then I went through the spousal visa. That was 1.5 years. That was like a nightmare that I never want to repeat. And then I got all that washed out and taken care of. I mean, she didn't like it in America. She didn't like the TV shows. She didn't want to learn how to drive. She didn't like the food. Didn't like the weather. She was scared of hurricanes. All these things I fully understood because she came from a different country, okay, a different culture, totally different. She was a fish out of water, okay. She was. She couldn't handle it. She couldn't deal with it. So I said, look, you need to go home. So I took her home to her mom, okay? And that was the best decision I made. And she is happy now. She's not stressing. You know, she would stress the hurricanes. It was not a very good situation for her. So I fixed it, okay? And she's happy, I'm happy. And now with all this knowledge that I've acquired over the last 8 years, I put this YouTube channel together for you with Karina. I was in central Colombia walking around Villa de Leyva, and Karina said, hey, you know, you got to do something. If you're going to be here with me in Colombia, you got to at least do something to stay busy. So she said, put a YouTube channel together. And here it is. And I think that you have learned a lot from it. You've learned a lot, I hope. I hope you're getting educated. So whoop slap, I understand. Antonio Martinez. Hi, Diego. And information on how long I will be waiting to get an interview at the embassy in Bangkok. It's 6 to 8 weeks. It's pretty quick. Bangkok is quick. Yeah, so you've been waiting for 4 weeks. Probably another 2. Within the 4 weeks, you'll have it. In the next 4 weeks, you'll have an interview appointment at the embassy in Bangkok. Antonio, give it 4 more weeks. Okay? Jacob, one would think no marriage, no crime, no real issues would make the package easy. You would think, right? Whoop slap. Diego, I discovered you late. I think I began watching you for 2 months now. That's great. If I would found you when I first started, it would have helped. Well, it's okay. Don't worry about it. You're going to get through it. I'll help you get through the adjustment of status part. How about that? Yaha Conte, but my NOA2 letter was June 23rd, 2023. NOA2 was June 23rd. So June, July. So by September 23rd, first week of October, you should be hearing from the MVC. Fazak. Diego, how many cases are they processing now weekly? About 1,500. 1,500 a week. They're doing pretty good. USCIS is doing great. The MVC, they're the ones trying to play catch up. Denise Jefferson, Susie, still hoping that you will find me on WhatsApp. You guys need to connect. I would love to connect as you are further along in the process, and I'm nervous about this Lagos embassy. Nothing has been easy or simple there. I agree with Denise Jefferson. But Denise, it's not difficult to change embassies, but the thing is, your beneficiary has to reside as a legal resident in the new country. Okay? Got to prove that it's legal residency. Hannah, please, Diego. So if the petitioner is American by naturalization, there is no need his native birth certificate. That's correct. No necessary from his mother. No, not required. No, immigration will not accept a foreign birth certificate because it doesn't show you're American. Immigration only care that the sponsor is a U.S. citizen. The sponsor has to be a U.S. citizen. Check. How do you prove it? A naturalization certificate, a passport, or an American birth certificate, or a certificate of citizenship. You know, let's suppose you were born in Panama back in the day when it was American territory on an American base. Let's suppose you were born on a U.S. military base in South Korea. You were born in South Korea, but it's a U.S. military base. You're still an American citizen. Angel Tate, you skipped my question. Angel, we're not going to skip your question. Hold on a second. It may not have popped up on the feed. Let me see. I don't see it. Angel, where is it? I don't see it. Repeat it for me, Angel. Sorry to make you double type. I don't see it. Brian and Jacqueline, you might not be an attorney, Diego, but you definitely know what you are talking about. And all your advice has really helped all of us. And I know we all appreciate it and love you and Karina for that. Well, I'm glad to help you. I know this process like the back of my hand, guys. All right. You know, I'm not an attorney or anything. I didn't go through law school, but I can probably have a serious debate with an immigration attorney and he won't be able to trip me up or her, either one. Now, immigration attorneys are great. I got no problem with them. Okay. But you only really need an immigration attorney if you have, a criminal background that you want to get checked out to see if you qualify for the visa. Filling out a K-1 visa is not hard. The package isn't difficult, but people get intimidated about it because they think they're dealing with Homeland Security. Well, they are. They're dealing with the State Department. They're dealing with Homeland Security. So, it's a bit intimidating. So they figure, well, if I hire an attorney, I'll get it done quicker. I won't have any errors. It'll be this and that. And somebody else is going to be representing me. But all you're doing is, number one, it doesn't speed up the process. Number two, you're putting somebody in front of you for immigration to contact. So if you get an RFE, your attorney's going to get it, not you. So you may not even know you got an RFE. And I've seen immigration attorneys fill out the paperwork incorrectly because it's not their family. This is your family. When you fill out a I-129F, this is all about your beneficiary and you, Mr. Sponsor, Ms. Sponsor. When you were born, when you were divorced, where you have lived, who your mom and dad is, what is their date of birth, where does your mom and dad live, right? You know this stuff better than an attorney does, right? The attorney may make a mistake on the date of birth, they make mistakes. You won't make a mistake on your I-129F. It's all about you, Mr. Sponsor, and your beneficiary. An immigration attorney doesn't know who you are. They don't know where you were born, how you lived your life, where your mom and dad was born. They're going by what you submit to them, right? If the only time you need an attorney for this process, guys, is if you really have a bad criminal record and you want to see that if you're qualified for the benefit. Whoop slap. I already started some of the adjustment of status stuff, like the passport organizing, the files. So all I need to do is gather the documents or the evidence. Whoop slap. I like your thinking. I did too. I've got Karina's adjustment of status paperwork in the back in the bedroom, ready to go. Most of it. Well, I made the cover sheet. I've still got to put her on all the car title, and we got to get married, and I got to do all this other crazy stuff, right? But I've planned, at the next live stream, what's today, Monday? On the Wednesday live stream, I'll bring the adjustment of status paperwork in here so you can see what I've done. So you guys can use it as information to help you. Brian and Jacqueline, because your advice about the situation we were having with the MVC, saying the embassy was closed, really helped, because you are why I wrote my senator and had her get on about it. Yeah, we fixed that. Well, you did all the legwork. I just kind of helped guide you in what to do, because I knew the embassy wasn't closed. Bogota was wide open. They just weren't processing visas for July because they were overwhelmed with work. But the MVC was saying they were closed because of COVID, and I fixed that also. I made some phone calls about that. Okay, if you are an embassy and you're closed because you're overworked, then say that's why you're closed. Don't make up some other story. But the embassy didn't. The embassy had no control. It was the MVC who made that story. They made up that story. They just wanted to put something out there generic just to tell you an excuse, when all they had to do was say the embassy in Bogota has temporarily suspended visa operations for 4 weeks until they catch up, and they will resume in August. Karina went to the embassy. She's like, "Are you guys closed because of COVID?" They looked at her like, "No, we're just playing catch up." Jacob, I think I've calmed down a bit now, Diego. Well, that's good. Now that I think we are all on the same page. Now, yeah, I'm going to help you. Jacob Myers, I'm going to help you. I know exactly what the position it is you're in right now. So now I know what the next steps are to help you. Okay? Whoop slap. I said angle. I meant to say angel. Well, we got you covered. Denise Jefferson, is Karina taking a certified copy of your birth certificate to the embassy of hers? Not mine, hers. I thought that the sponsor, because that required the initial package. No, my proof of U.S. citizenship, she has my passport. My American passport, U.S. passport, says I'm a U.S. citizen. She has a copy of my biographic page of my passport. She doesn't need my birth certificate. She just needs to prove I'm a citizen. And I already did that because I got the visa approved. If I wasn't a U.S. citizen, I wouldn't have got the K-1 visa approved at the USCIS. It wouldn't have made it past the lockbox in Dallas. So she's just going to take my passport. But I want to be with her. I've already got our visa embassy package ready to go. Back in the bedroom right here. I'm just checking. I just keep frequently checking the I-134 to make sure that they don't update that form. And then if they do, I'll let you guys know. But Denise, no. Karina doesn't need my birth certificate. I just got to prove citizenship. But she needs her birth certificate translated into English by a certified translator. Whoop slap. Great minds, Diego. Great minds. Hedrex, Sodiero, Chris Fire. God bless you, Diego. You are helping me a lot. May God bless you, your marriage. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. The blessings on our marriage, that means a lot to me. Thank you. Frazak, wow, 1,500 a week. Yeah. I got my receipt dated April 18th, 23, based on chart 1,300. Here we go with the range numbers, Fazak. The only thing that I worry about on a range are buffalo in Montana or Wyoming. That's the range I look at. The range number on an immigration document to me is just useless information. It's irrelevant. Whoop slap, I'll bring mine too. Angel Tate. Hi, Diego. My fiance and I are watching from Jamaica. Beautiful Jamaica. NOA1, October 31, 2022. When do you think we should expect the interview at the embassy? Well, let's see. First, you got to get your NOA2 letter, which will probably be in November sometime. And then 3 month wait for the NVC, so February. So I would say April, May timeframe, you should be in the embassy in Jamaica. The springtime of 2024. Angel Tate, thank you. Whoop slap. Thevi Srey POV. Hi, Diego. What to tell employers? Do the letter. What to tell employers? Do the letter. I think what you're trying to ask me is, what should the employer write on the letter of employment? Sponsor has been working at this place since this date. His or her position is this. This is his or her hourly wage. This is his or her yearly income. Signed and dated by president of the company, human resources officer, etc. Let's see. Whoop Slap and Angel are chatting with each other, which is good. Okay, guys, I've been talking for 1 hour, 31 minutes. And Susie, wait a second. Hold on, guys. Susie says, yes, I found Diego in January, and I was going crazy waiting for USCIS. And yes, you and the YouTube channel has helped me tremendously. Well, high five to Susie. And guys, and then Jacob, what's the difference between an invoice number and a beneficiary ID number? I don't actually know that answer to that question. That's a good question. Kaiser H, thanks, Diego. I appreciate your help. The invoice number comes from the embassy to give you a permission to process the K1 visa. But I've seen people processing K1 visas at the embassy without the invoice number. They've been using their receipt number as the invoice number. So we got embassies doing one thing, we got the NVC doing another thing. So the confusion isn't at USCIS. The confusion starts at the NVC and at the embassy. So I'm going to do all my investigating and research on that question for Jacob. With that, guys, said, I'm going to go and make a sandwich and get something to eat, make a cheese sandwich, go chat with Karina. She wants to chat with me. And thanks for checking it in, stopping by. Thanks for all the super chats, guys, today. You are a blessing. Thank you so much. It's greatly appreciated, and really, truly is. And I'm glad the channel is beneficial to you guys. And I'll be back Wednesday, same time, 7 p.m. Central Time. And I might do a surprise live stream tomorrow. If you guys want me to continue the live stream, maybe I'll drop by tomorrow morning so the people in the Philippines, Indonesia, Singapore, Australia, New Zealand, all those countries can watch the show at a reasonable time instead of being real early in the morning. Okay, guys, talk to y'all on Wednesday. Maybe I'll drop by tomorrow. I'll drop by tomorrow morning just to do a surprise.